A chess match that ended in a draw. How did Nasreddin Nabi outsmart Miguel Cardoso? But how can you say Miguel Cardoso was outsmarted by Nabi because the match ended in a draw? Well, you can say that because when we're about to look at the analysis, you will see exactly why Cardoso was outsmarted, but you'll also see why Kaizer Chiefs did not win this game. And what is it that they can fix and that they try to do to change this game around? You ready for the breakdown? Let's get into it. So let's start with Kaizer Chiefs in their defensive shape because this is what was expected. Kaizer Chiefs to make sure that they are solid at the back to prevent Sundowns from scoring. And so did they do that because you look in midfield here, in this shape, it looks like it's a triangle that is facing towards the goal of Kaizer Chiefs. But what it actually is, it's just man marking on steroids. Because if you look closely, you will see that everyone in that midfield line, Umthetho is with Salez. You will see that Umdusha Balala is on slightly on the left and is with Koza. You have Uduba who's staying with Umkwena. And then on the right, you have Ulilepo staying with Marcelo Allende. So all the midfielders of Mamelodi Sundowns have been neutralized, and the only person who can receive the ball is Cupido. But he's the deepest of the Sundowns players, so he's not that important when it comes to progressing the ball. But everyone who can do anything about having the ball has a man guiding him. And if we continue looking at this, you will see that there is also Pule Modi on the left side of the screen. Some people, when they started seeing Chiefs do this, they're like, why is this Plumber playing Modi as a left back? He's not playing him as a left back, but he's playing him as someone who's tracking Murena because Murena pushes further up the pitch. And if you are just going to give that responsibility to the left back, then what will happen is you'll have Salez moving to that side, and then they'll have a 2v1 against a defender. And that's how Sundowns beats you. So you have to drop your wingers so that you make sure that they don't overload your side. Now, continuing with this, you will also see also that with this thing happening, Kaizer Chiefs again are stepping up and pressing every midfielder of Mamelodi Sundowns. But Sundowns are a smart team. So what you'd end up seeing is that as Mtetwa is deep, is pressing Usalez, what would happen is that they will now make him make a decision. Allende drops much deeper to collect the ball. Salez comes in centrally to get the ball. So what Kaizer Chiefs would then do, they will push Inacio Miguel to press Usalez to make sure that they don't get the ball. And if in some cases, like here, you see Salez is there about to get the ball, what Chiefs would then do, they will see that, okay, now this is too close to Sundowns' half and will be surrendering too much of his space behind. So what would happen is Mdusha Balala alongside Utuba, they will just drop and make sure that there isn't space in midfield, but there's also no space behind the defensive line of Kaizer Chiefs. So in them dropping, then they don't allow Sundowns to progress the ball. But sometimes what would happen is that Matthews would try and drop in the same space because Salez is also dropping as wingers are doing the same thing. And when he did that, Ox was very quick to see that because then as much as he would be following Marcelo Allende on the other side, but then he would just pass him on to Lilepo and then focus on Matthews. And this is how the other chance of the game came about because Matthews thought he was alone, but Ox was there, intercepts the ball, ends up taking a shot off. And you will also see that Modi on Mrena was always on because Usalez had inverted there and effectively leaving that space for Modi to be dealing or to face Usalez. And you see that when Salez was left alone, like in this situation, he's free. Like, I don't know why Chiefs were sleeping here, but there they are sleeping. Salez gets the ball, combines, and Chiefs almost concede a goal. And yeah, the other thing that Chiefs were doing, this is a thing that is supposed to be in the end. They left Williams alone. I want you to look at this time here when Williams gets the ball. It was 15 minutes, 12 seconds. This is 15 minutes, 26 seconds if you look at the clock, top left corner. 14 seconds, they just left him alone. They didn't want to press. And to some fans, this might get frustrating. Why are they not pressing the keeper? Because Williams can play the ball. So if you go to him and then he finds a pass, that means you've basically eliminated one of the markers from your team. and now you're outnumbered, and then Sundowns will destroy you. So leave Williams alone. By the way, if you're enjoying the content, please do make sure to subscribe to the channel. It literally took me this whole day to make this video because it's a lot to analyze. So please do subscribe, share with your friends. And if you want to support the channel before we just continue with the video, you can become a member of this channel by clicking the link that is on the description or the link that is on the first comment here, and you can become a member of the channel and get some certain perks, benefits of being a member of the channel. So thank you as you consider that. So now Williams was left alone to play the ball, and he was left alone until they saw that, okay, a pass that was made is basically what they call this. They call it a pressing trigger. So you let a team play until they do a specific thing. So for example, if they pass the ball to the keeper, maybe like it's a heavy pass. So they see that the keeper is going to struggle to trap the ball. So then they go to him. Or maybe they pass it to his weaker foot, then they press him. But if they pass him to his right foot, they won't press him. So it depends on what the coach decides on. But there will be something that is a pressing trigger for a team. So in this case, they see that the pass was a bit heavy, so they try to press. As a result, when the ball goes to Cupido, now they are there to press and get the ball back. So to show the effectiveness of how the Chiefs were in the press, Reynas was out. You had Mukwena going out and Motiba coming on, Zugo Mdunyelo, because Mrena was also locked down by Umodi on the right-hand side, and J. It was a lot of that. But the only sub that almost made a difference was this of Umotiba, because he inverts and he gets into these spaces, which he overloads the midfield, and with Mapena coming in and giving Sundowns width, it would leave him with some space, because Mapena is dangerous. So then Umotiba would be here, and he played this cross that ended up almost being scored by Ulebo Motiba. Now let's look at Chiefs. Of course, they were defending. They defended well, but after winning the ball, then there's another phase of play. Now have to transition into attack, right? So this is how they did it. So they were in a very good situation. So like here, they win the ball, but you see a problem. They have the ball, Lilepo has the ball, but Umtutuzi Shabalala there, bottom of the screen, Utupule Modi, they are not running into the box. Do you see this? They want the ball to be played outside of the box. Again, Chiefs are starting a transition. You see Utabo Tsele no Modi. They are not sprinting forward. He wants the ball to be played to him or to be played to Tuba. But if he's making a forward run, the defenders probably think, okay, let's also think about Tuchel. But if it's just one option who's there up front, then they know who's going to get the ball. And that is something that Chiefs needs to work on, because you see Raken here, both pivots are staying back, but as we saw in earlier on in the system, that actually when they play and they're going forward, only one stays. It's either Ucele or Mteto. They were interchanging because they wanted Ox as well to be up front when they were pressing, but sometimes they wanted him to be deeper. It depends on the phase of play. If they wanted, you saw when I showed you, sometimes it was on Allende, sometimes it was on Salez. So it depended on the situation that they were using. But in this case, they are going forward, and none of them are going forward. They are staying back. One could have made a run centrally and run into that huge space where you see the ref, but no one is making that run. And as a result, their thing almost always died down. So when you look at attack, I thought I showed you attack. I hadn't. But now I'm about to show you attack. So this is what Kaizer Chiefs did very well in attack. So yeah, so that you can understand the terminology I'm talking about. When we talk about wings, we're talking about the sides where the traditional wingers play. Half space is the space between the center and the wing or the white space. So if I say wing, I also mean white space, right? So now Chiefs' plan, since is very comfortable in operating in the half space, is to have Lilepo stretch the pitch, because then they will have Munyane with his electric pace bursting down through the half space. So you can see how they do this. There is Munyane playing the ball to Lilepo, who's holding his width, and then Lilepo gets the ball. And when he gets the ball, look at Teto. Teto is making a forward run, creating that space in the half space so that no one is occupying it. And when Umunyane gets the ball, he now tries to attack that space. But then the issue is, Tutuzi Shabalala is not in any space to receive the ball. But as you can see, Uduba as well is also going towards the ball instead of away from the ball. And what would end up happening after Kaizer Chiefs had played very well from out of the pressure at the back is that now we're going forward and then the ant options forward, and then you'll end up finding a player, even if he goes through that space, he can't make a pass because he didn't have easy options. You see the same situation again. On the left, Pulemodi, bottom left. On the top right, you have Umonyane. You have Lilepo holding the width. And you can see that the one who's staying back behind them is Umonyane, right? Because Yena, the only way he becomes active is when the ball is already there, then it's played back to him, and then he makes a forward run, which, by the way, is why people complain about back passes. But some back passes are strategic. We play a pass back so that you can push up, and then as you push up, then we hit you. But people just see all back passes and think they're negative. But we move. So the ball here is then going to be played. But another problem that you see, Mtusha Balala, they are also outside the box. And Ulilepo only wants to cross the ball into the box because they did not make those runs early enough. Because remember, if you look at the situation, if they had made those runs into that space that I highlighted, this space, let me see if it can still be highlighted. If they had made runs into that space, you know what happens? Some defenders get concerned and they try to cover that space, which will then open up a space for Duba. But they didn't do it. As such, the ball is forced there, but there's a lot of defenders who can try and intercept the ball. See, again, the problem here is that the ball, you see Munyane is making a run forward. Lilepo gets the ball. Fine, Munyane takes a person with him. But who's in the box? No one. So then the coach had to make changes to try and address this issue. And you can see here, Ndlovu is attacking, the team is attacking, and Ndlovu gets into the box, which is something that you want, because now there is Usireno who can then come in behind, because if Ndlovu, Lilepo, and say Dupriz, who was in at this time, or he wasn't in yet, but if they're all taking defenders forward, there's going to be that space behind. Like how Chiefs scored against, was it Richards Bay? Yes. The defenders were taken in, and then Usireno was then able to strike the ball unmarked at the edge of the box. But here, there aren't enough options, and the cross is forced. Once again, you see this problem again. You have Pulemodi here making a run, right? The ball is with Sereno. Instead of him attacking the box, he's still trying to give width. Again, you have Ndlovu naye staying outside the box instead of trying to attack it, which is something was brought in for, because he can attack the box. And the only people who are in the box are going to be in the far post. No one is going to be by the penalty area. So when the ball is crossed, it just goes back, but there aren't enough people. Which brings us to transition into defense. And that is how Chiefs, when we're talking about transition to defense, we're talking, you are attacking and, you lose the ball. How are you going to, defend that? So rest defense, by the way, because someone defined it wrong on Twitter, to Biffan and Chiefs. Rest defense is basically how you set up while you're attacking so that you can defend. Basically, while you're attacking, your defense is resting, but it must still be there, right? You are not defending, you're actively attacking, but your defense must be properly organized. So they lose the ball here, Umunyane, and the ball is coming back. And as we already see, there's like 4 people at the back. But even if there weren't 4 people at the back, they were so electric in recovering and coming back to win those balls. And here again, the ball is going forward. Modi is tracking back, and this time he's not tracking Umrena, but he's tracking Matthews, and he catches up with him. And yeah, Sundowns did not have a chance because of such things. But another thing that was not likable by how Chiefs played their set pieces is, why did they keep on playing the short corners? Because they just didn't work for them, right? If you're going to do short corners, then make sure that you have your routine to the T, right? Because clearly Nabi had a better plan. It's just that the execution by the players lacked a bit. Defensively, it was to the T. But offensively, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. But what did you guys make of this video? And remember, you can become a member of the channel. Click the link that is on the first comment of this video. And go check out the other video about how Pirates beat Sundowns this weekend. You will see maybe there are some similarities. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Just keep on watching these videos, man, and subscribe and share with your friends. Bye bye.